Hi, I'm Zarr.
Hello, I am Jamison,
We present the Navajo Code Talkers.
and their vital and unrecognized contributions during World War II.
Although it may not be well known, the Navajo people were essential to the United States military efforts during one of the world's most devastating wars. These were the Navajo Code Talkers. The Code Talkers saved countless lives during World War II by sending coded messages in the battlefield. To give a little history, many English colonists, who were the ancestors of many Americans who live in the U.S. today, did not have good relationships with Native Americans. There were many wars in which Native Americans were treated horribly. In the Indian Wars during the 1600s, colonists took over land and many Indians and colonists were killed.
In World War II, the Navajo Code Talkers protected Americans and military information by coding secret messages so the enemy would not gain information. Philip Johnston, an engineer in Los Angeles who spoke the Navajo language, had a strong relationship with the Navajo tribe because his father was a missionary who served on a Navajo reservation. As a young boy, Johnston traveled with his father to talk to President Theodore Roosevelt to give the Navajos more land. Johnston was very close to the Navajo people. After he read about the U.S. military's communications during battle, he thought the Navajo language could be used as a code. Johnston went to the naval office where he was told to propose the idea to use the Navajo language to Major James E. Jones at Camp Elliott in San Diego. The Navajos spoke the language of Demi, which was hard for the enemy to decode since only 30 individuals who were not Navajo knew the language. After Johnston spoke a few Navajo words, Major Jones was convinced and conducted a demonstration with the Navajo people.
Major General Clayton Vogel witnessed the demonstration and was so impressed that he wanted to recruit and train Navajo men. He wanted 200 men, but unfortunately, he was only permitted 30.
29 members of the Navajo tribe were recruited by the U.S. Marines. Training began at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot. The Navajos learned how to deal with weapons and trained in the basic martial arts. After their training was completed, the 29 recruits were transported back to Camp Elliott. There, the 29 men underwent training for radio communications and other important skills. At the time, the Navajos created codes and assigned those Navajo codes to English words. They created a new type of code that translated to English letters. This was for messages that were too important to risk being decoded by the enemy. This was called the Type 1 code.
There was also a Type 2 code, a simpler code that translated Navajo words into English words. In August of 1942, the Code Talkers' training was complete. The Code Talkers participated in many difficult battles, like Guadalcanal. In this battle, the U.S. government was testing new ways to communicate, so the Marines sent a few of their first Code Talkers. While the U.S. government was fighting against Japan, they were also protecting their communication systems. The Navajo troops sent a few of their own codes as part of a test, and the Japanese could not decipher them.
In the Battle of Iwo Jima,
6 code talkers dispatched over 800 messages without any error in communication. The Marine Corps acknowledged the Navajo troops as essential to surviving that battle. This battle was crucial to the success of the American efforts in World War II. This battle gave the U.S. access to bomb Japanese war zones and gain control. The American Army thought the only way to reduce Japanese control was by gaining and taking back territory. This battle was the bloodiest in Marine history. In the Battle of Tarawa, the U.S. wanted to take the Marshall Islands and the Mariana Islands. They also intended to advance on Japan. Over 1,000 American troops were killed in the battle. 2,000 were injured. This worried the American Army, so the Marines sent Navajo troops to prevent confusion. By improving communication in this battle, the code talkers used their dialect to give orders and take over the battle. The code advanced America's battle strategies, in addition to the importance of relying on communication. The armed Navajo soldiers fought against the enemy troops. This battle was gruesome but important, and the Navajo played a major role in this 76-hour bloodbath. If the Navajo troops who used their language in Denny had not been used, the U.S. Marine Corps in that region, they might have never survived that battle.
Racism after World War II didn't only affect African Americans, it had a major impact on many others, such as Native Americans. Although the Navajo Code Talkers played an essential role in World War II, they still had to face racism and white supremacy when they returned home. Most Americans did not know about their heroic actions. Racial bias played an overwhelming role in the failure to acknowledge the Navajos' wartime valor. Instead, the Navajo were treated with disdain for the problems in their communities, such as poverty and alcoholism. The Navajos were even looked down upon when they spoke their own language, the very language that saved many American lives. In fact, it was not until 2001 that the Code Talkers gained some recognition. The Navajo Code Talkers helped in a small way to improve diversity and acceptance in the military. They advanced the way communication can benefit us. They showed us that an indigenous language which was not previously valued could benefit America. We should recognize the heroism of the Navajo. They should stand as a lesson to us not to discriminate by race or background. Navajo Code Talkers are just one example of how unique experiences and skills can make our nation better, stronger, and richer. Diversity not only helps us win wars, but can advance the United States as a whole if we embrace it.
As Peter McDonald, one of the last remaining Navajo Code Talkers, said, "Never forget what war is. War is something that nobody wants. It is bad, it is ugly. But so long as we are together, no matter what nationality you are, if you are an American and love this country, we all have to stick together to keep this nation strong."